for the most part, it seems like, that's just been my experience since I met her and I watch everything. Um, it seems like that they anchor it in, you guys anchor it in, and then it makes it easier for other people, I think.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's some type of sisterhood or something around the world that's what they do. That's part of their job.
Yeah, it's almost like that chain link, isn't it? Like the link.
Mm-hmm.
There's this chain link that, where we go, where one goes, others go.
Yeah. That's the Trump thing, right? The Q thing. Where one
Oh, is it?
goes, where one
Oh,
goes, we all go. So
okay.
where we go one, we all go. Something like that. See, I don't know it.
Yeah.
I'm not a good Q person, but yeah, I think we're back online now. So we got knocked off a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So you, I mean, like I look at someone like you, and I'm like, man, she's like so connected. And the first thing I got to say too is like, I got over here, and it was like I don't know what happened, but something happened, and then the energy, because the energy in July was pretty, June and July was pretty intense. July was in particular like mid July. Anyway, these essences came in that you make, right, and and you sent a letter with it. And so I remember that day, and it was a lot like today. It was rainy, and it was kind of like all this energy was hanging around, and things felt kind of weird. And and this letter came, and it was just like, wow, this is so cool. And then I read it, and then I mixed the essences, and I started doing it every day. So it's been cool.
Awesome.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think we're on. I'm just double checking. Sorry. Yeah, it looks like it looks like it says Facebook back again. Okay, so we're good. Everybody.
I just, I don't know about you, but this is my energy right now.
What's that? Say it again.
My energy is like I feel like I'm in a
Uh,
tunnel, but it's going woo woo woo.
that noise you're making, I keep getting that. Did you hear
Yeah.
that? It's like a
No.
war. It's like a warbling. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
exactly like that. It'll go like it just like
Yeah.
everything
That's
just kind
it.
of goes. You're like
Yeah.
walking, and then it just goes like that, and then you're back. Like, what was that?
Yeah.
It happened to me driving the car. It
Yeah.
happened to me. It happened to me last night when I was outside. I think it was last night or the night before, and we have this light in the back, and it only comes on when there's motion.
Yeah.
Like if somebody walks by, and I had parked our car right next to it, and we don't have anything, and you got to get really close to it. It doesn't work very good. And so I'm sitting there talking to Morgan in the garage, and all of a sudden the light goes. And of course, first of all, there was all this wind and stuff happening, and I was like thinking to myself, I didn't say anything to her. I was just like, wow, something's happening. Like, I almost started to get scared. I was like, and I don't get scared. I was just like, wow, this is like really powerful. And then the light turned on, so I had to get up out of the chair, and I turned and I looked, and I figured I'd see like a raccoon or a possum or something, even though it would be hard for it to pick them up because the truck was there. And I saw this long, kind of like dark rectangular thing, like a wave thing, went like that. I was like, "What
Yeah.
is?" Yeah, and I saw two more things today in the daylight, but they were like,
Wow.
yeah, they were like shiny, silvery white, bluish, like light, and they were like ribbons. I saw two
Hmm.
of them, and they were very physical. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's getting pretty interesting though. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Today feels so. Waking up this morning definitely feels a lot. Um, yeah, because it's been raining here for the last 24 hours.
It
Really
has.
raining. Yeah. Um,
It has.
and
It has here too. I mean, it's rained a lot.
yeah, and then I was outside last night before I went to sleep, and I was like using the alchemy of the rain and the water and dispersing it all over the
Wow.
land, and then just sending it out.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, and then I woke up this morning, and it feels something feels like there's been a cleanse. So that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
Was it a little bit chaotic before the cleanse?
Yeah, I was like when I say like I
As it
wouldn't
was over
believe,
here, man. It was like, oh,
like,
everything was cool, and then all of a sudden everything just went crazy.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then
And
the
I don't know
rain.
if you've heard any news of what's going on here in Victoria. It's
Is
crazy.
that Victoria where Melbourne is?
Yeah, it's
Yes, I've heard about that.
yeah.
Morgan's been telling me about it, and I'm thinking something's not right. Do you know Kirsty and James Greenshields?
No,
They live in Mulumbi. I'm saying it wrong. Mumblebee or something like that. M-U-M.
is that is that on the is that in New South Wales? Mullumbimby?
I think so. Anyway, they were telling me that things are getting crazy because they're going to come on tomorrow. We're going to do a special show tomorrow, like with just couples, just
Oh,
what,
cool.
like it's not about divine union. It's I put in the heading, WTF is going on, seeing this through like four eyes instead of two. But anyway, she wrote me a note. She said, "Man, they're like coming down and clamping down on the restrictions."
Mm.
And she said, people are freaking out. People are starting to get freaked out about it. I said, well, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yep.
But you're out in the country. You don't see a lot of it, do you?
No, but I feel it.
I bet you do.
I I feel it. Yeah. So I've been working with the grids and the portals. So I've been doing a lot of land stuff, but I'm feeling the chaos and the fear,
Yeah.
and this week it wobbled me. So
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, I mean we're back to stage 3 here, but in Melbourne,
It's
it's just
four. It's
it's
stage four. And she
it
was
makes no
reading
sense.
it. She was reading it to me last night. And I wonder if what you're feeling, the fear or whatever those emotions are, is what these other women were feeling. And I know Morgan's was like specific to self neglect and old patterns, subtle patterns of, how we gave away our power or compromise
Mm-hmm.
ourselves or put other people first. And, but I wonder if, that's what y'all are picking up because everyone she talked to and then with listening to you, y'all are saying it's very collective, which makes sense. It makes
Yeah.
sense. It really
I
does.
always check in first to see if it's mine
Yeah.
and what stages, if it's like, the inner child, the teenager, then or the adult self, and then I go out as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but here in Victoria, I was picking up during the week, and I've confirmed, a girlfriend told me that what she was feeling, so it was a confirmation that we have a lot of light workers here in Victoria.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not like it's kind of interesting because I sort of see it as I'm literally, if I'm my own reality, and if I'm the only one, looking at it on this perspective, this is my reality,
Yeah.
my, hologram, and everything else is a projection, then, like I'm in not worst case scenario because it could be worst case scenarios, but I'm in it.
Yeah.
So what can I do
Yeah.
to create and make myself feel safe, and yet do the work out there and hold space as well? So yeah, that was my my question this week.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Morgan that it's really interesting because if you look at, I have to go to like different pages to do it, but if you look at the Sology demographics by city or by region or city or region, I think they do it by city actually. Melbourne, which isn't that big, when you compare it to, because like the number one's New York, and then I think it's London, and then LA, Chicago, Houston, where I'm from. Those are all really big cities. We're talking like 8 million, 10 million.
Mm.
But Melbourne's always been like 6 or 7, which has always told me that there's got to be a lot of light workers over there.
Yeah.
Because I was telling her, well, maybe that lockdown is happening because there's so much, such a strong community or a strong
Yeah.
presence of people that are awake and actually conscious and working with the earth and working with the energies. I mean, because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yep.
I
It
mean, I think,
doesn't.
yeah, it just doesn't make any sense because she said that there's been like 136 supposed COVID deaths in that area, which isn't a whole lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's very interesting. And then I think then from there you start asking why, and then it leads you to other areas. And I think that's the biggest, because literally all eyes are on Melbourne right now.
Yeah.
So we're lit up for the whole world to see,
which
is fantastic, because why?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Have you checked into the why? Have you gone into Dimension to check into it?
I was connecting with 3 other women in my area.
I saw that post you put out. Yeah, that was cool. So you asked people if they wanted to work that area with you. I saw a post you put up like that.
Yeah. I really wanted to, because at the end of the day, whatever you do inside makes an impact on what happens on the outside.
True.
We know
That's
that.
very true. Yeah.
So imagine if we all just sat down and gave ourselves half an hour every day, and and sat with the uncomfortableness of it all, and then going deeper and then deeper, and then finding those pathways and acknowledging them and accepting them, and then seeing what happens.
You know what would happen. What would happen. I mean, I remember being in the old studio way back before I met Morgan. And I remember, because I would just get up and just say whatever came out, just like channeling, but it's just English Texan words, and I remember saying, because I never rehearsed anything. And sometimes and I remember going, we could all just go outside right now and put our hands in the air and say, I'm not participating. I am soul. And can you imagine even like getting, a couple of million people to do that?
Yeah.
It would flip everything.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah. I don't think it would take much time at all, just because of the sheer intensity of the intention and the numbers. But I saw a couple of things, or was pointed out to me a couple of things. I don't really follow the whole, I mean, I know that there's a lot of truth behind what people call conspiracy theories. I mean, we all know that everything's coming to the surface. I think it's important for me with what I do to stay on top of everything and just expose myself to everything that's out there, and then discern for myself and do the show. But one of the things that somebody showed me, I think it was Morgan actually, somebody, a senator, there was a judge in Melbourne, some type of high-level judge, who came out and said that there was a whole bunch of trafficking going on in Melbourne, because evidently it's a big port. And I thought, well, maybe that's why they're clamping down, so they can go in and do some kind of, extraction or arrest or, whatever. I don't know. But, we always come back to the same place. And you just said it really, when we do this stuff inside ourselves, that's how we affect everything. Yeah. So, I try to be really careful about what I'm watching, because I realize if I keep watching stuff, even if I don't get a charge, I'm going to be putting that out there. So it's,
yeah.
I think your method is the way to go.
Yeah. And that poem that or not poem, just that Kali energy came through as well. Like when I was in my labyrinth, and it's like the mother came up and spoke through me, and I just happened to have my journal on me, and it is that Kali energy right now. It's but then it's like, is that my role though? Like
when necessary,
the gentle, like, it's that protective mother thing, but that's not who I am in this lifetime. That's something that is within, but it's not necessarily it's something that I could participate in this lifetime. It's more about just the beingness.
Yeah,
and
it is.
And then just from the inside out, just working with what is in front of you.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I really do. Because I mean, look, we're here to, I mean, as far as I can tell, we're here to push oneness as far as we can take it.
Mm.
And, really, the Kali energy is absolutely different than a polarized, strong warrior type mentality where you're fighting another side. The Kali energy, you don't care what side you're on. You can be on the light, you can be on the dark, but if you're not being honest about something, if you're not facing something, some shadow or some secret, or you're trying to portray yourself through various masks or whatever, this is the time. And you're right. There is a kind of a prevalent growing Kali energy that is only going to ask once or twice. It's not going to ask more than that. And then it's just going to come in and embarrass you.
Yeah, yeah,
In a painful way, I'm sure. That's been my
yeah,
experience with her.
yeah. And I have to remember too that I don't carry a sword anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't need to fight anymore.
No, no.
Because we already have that internal struggle as it is. We
Yeah.
don't need to pick up any we
We
don't need to
can't.
pick a fight.
No, we can't.
It's all about
And
alchemy now.
I mean, we've expanded our consciousness too much to disallow the reality of oneness is oneness, and also the respect of souls' journeys. I mean, if we go into into dimension, or let's just say into a higher dimension, or the other side, or whatever you want to call it, there is no older person and younger person. Everybody's the same. But when we come down here, we have that linear thing going, or we did. It's starting to disappear because we're realizing too that some of these kids coming in are just incredible. Like they're more powerful than five of us put together. I mean, they're just clean. But I guess what I'm saying is that everyone has chosen the journeys that we've chosen. Every one of us, with our soul family, in the ethers, we planned what we wanted to do in an effort, to expand our soul and to expand the universe. So it's not an easy thing to look at. All of us have kids, but there's a lot, that we can get hung up on. But ultimately, we've got to get past it. I mean, and I guess that's what we're doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And,
Yeah, I got.
and
Yeah.
it's also a feeling that, what is it? It's like nobody knows what's really going to happen. Like we're in new territory.
That's
So
right.
it's like every step is now a new step and a new planting of seeds. So what are those seeds? Are you going to plant new earth seeds? Are you going to grab the old and then put them in the new? Because that's not going to work. So like now's the time to walk consciously on the new earth.
Yeah. We were supposed to do a show, and I canceled.
Yeah.
I have not canceled in a year and a half, and I ended up actually canceling 2 days. And that was just 12 days ago or something. So we haven't talked since May 28th. I remember because that's the day that I left. You were the last show I did. And so I remember I arrived here at 6 a.m. on June the 1st. And I had the weirdest stuff happening. I was on the road and I couldn't drive any longer. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. I was tired. I pulled over. I couldn't sleep. I'm driving down the road and it's dark. And you know how they have bridges over the highways? Well, there wasn't any bridges there. And on the bridges, they'll have signs like so-and-so is so-and-so road, or, so-and-so so many miles away. And I looked up and I saw Morgan, and it said something like something home. And I knew I had to get back, and I did. And she felt the same thing. She could feel me coming. When I pulled up at 6 o'clock, she was out waiting for me, you know? And so it was really cool. But anyway, that was June 1st, and something happened June 1st. And when you said what you just said, For me, it resonates that that's when it started. Because when I got up June 1st, I was like, something has changed. Like almost like our aspects gave us what we needed, everything that we could pull in so that we could expand. And then we got to a certain point where they don't even know what's going to happen. And I
Yeah.
actually got that from somebody about 10 days ago. They said they don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, like the reverence they have for us is extraordinary because this is new territory.
Yeah.
It really is, you know?
Yeah. And we're only acting from the old ways.
Yeah.
So calling in, the newness is,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the, that's how it is in each moment.
Yeah. I posted it today. This person on, I don't even know if it's a man or a woman, because they go by the initials RR, and they put a comment on one of the YouTube. They're in the YouTube, they're a subscriber on YouTube. And it was so incredible. It was just so incredible. And basically, it said a lot of stuff, but one of the things it said is what you just said. And that was, it was kind of like a message of, you know what? Uh, the higher selves are running the show now. You can ease up, relax, chill out. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to go accomplish anything. Almost like the humans busted their ass. They've done the work. Now you can relax a little bit and let your higher energies take it over. And then they went on to say, like almost like summing it up, all that we've got to do, or I don't say it like that, but like the potential is there if we can get rid of all that, the old programming, even the stuff like we got to go out and save people and all that. If we can just in every moment reach for our highest light, like in other words, act from our highest level of awareness.
Yeah.
And that's so contrary to what we've known.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And more and more, I also feel the energies of the embodiment of the higher self, and everything else is sort of um, falling away. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the guidance of your team,
Yeah.
like it's more and more
Mm-hmm.
just,
On you. It's on
yeah,
you.
yeah.
The mama
We should
goddess is the mama goddess is kicking us out of the nest.
Yeah,
And on one hand, it's like grow up, and on the other hand, it's like you got this, man. Like you're showing us how to do it. It's like
yeah,
both. It's like
yeah,
we're going to come into this knowing where we really realize where our stature is in the universal family, but at the same time, it's like grow up.
yeah,
You know, you
yeah,
see, it's like you see quite a bit of quite a bit of projection going on in the community. And it just tells me, no judgment, but it just tells me, and I'm in the same boat because I did it today, that the energies, the Kali energies pressing us. It's pressing us. It's not going to take delays anymore. The higher you go, the more the more you see, the more everything parallels that. But like I had somebody write me today, and they're like, "Can you remove these two videos on YouTube? I don't want them up there." And
yeah,
I don't want to get into the reasons, but they were just regular shows. And I wrote, and I thought about it. I said, no, it's there. You can't erase. It just I'm not going to do it. So then they
mhm,
reported me to YouTube, and then YouTube sent me a letter, and they're like, we're going to look into this, and you better not have done anything wrong, which we didn't. But then I wrote them a note. Then I projected. I did, and I haven't really done that in a while. But I projected, and I was like, hey, you know what? Grow the f up, man. Like, and and as soon as I did it, I pushed the button. I was like, I know what I just did, and I can't change it. So I'm gonna, move on. But because I don't want to do that, but it has been pretty intense.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
No excuses.
yeah. No more excuses. Yeah, it is. You show up every day, and
Mm.
um, you just hold your own. I mean, I'm pretty much like it's very much heart,
Yeah.
and
High
then running
heart.
a family too. Like,
I understand.
the we've just gone back to homeschooling. and I love my kids at home. Like, I actually really love it. And I guess it's easy for us because we've got 5 acres, so we've got the space in the room, without actually being out there, which is really nice. But you've got your parent role. My oldest is I've got 3 kids and he's 11. So
11. Wow.
yeah, it's that there's that role there as well, like being the constant parent, and in that energy of the nurturer, and the guidance of a parent as well. Like I've always sort of tended not to be, I brought you into this world, you will do what I say.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I've always gone, I'm the guardian of these souls that have come through, and I'm going to guide them as best as I can, in each sort of moment, day to day. So because they were struggling in the actual school,
They
with
were.
the stress levels of
Yeah.
the regiment that was put in place.
Yeah.
And they didn't last long in that way, because we went straight back into lockdown. So I think they had like 3 or 4 weeks of school and then came back home. So, but it was enough to rattle them.
Yeah.
And so you've got to be that support for them, hold your own stuff.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's really hard. And
Then you have a week like this week.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned that some of it where you were feeling the fear from the collective, and that you got a little bit rattled. And I was telling you about Morgan and some of her friends. And did you talk to other people? Were other people picking up the same thing, your friends?
Yeah, there's those group of 3 other women that are around our area in the regional country Victoria. We were getting together on a Sunday before we met up 2 times, and they were feeling the collective, especially like we were concentrating on Victoria. Sometimes we weren't even taken here; we were taken somewhere else around the world. So
Really?
sometimes it's not necessarily where you think you're going to go. You're taken away and done, or you're taken up. So
Cool.
it's really fascinating. The first day that we actually got together, because we were doing it, we picked a time at 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and we just sat for 11 minutes. And then we just sent through what we got through. And then we're like, let's meet up while we still can. So we did. But in the afternoon, and that morning, I was outside under a tree meditating, and I was taken into the halls of the Mentee and given something back into my care. And I went into that crystal city that I Stargate Crystal City under Melbourne, and used it there. And within 20 minutes, a black ops helicopter flew over our property.
Are you serious?
I am
You can't make
serious.
this stuff up. It sounds crazy.
Yeah.
And I know people that's happened to, and it happened to me in Houston like twice. And the first time I was like, nah, and the second time, and it was just me in a park doing my own thing, ritual, whatever it was. So that's pretty.
Yeah, because when I used it on the octahedron, it went like this. It went, woof, woof, and then it pulsed all the way out, like through the whole state. And then I went, whoa, and I'm like, yeah, cool. and then the helicopters were going. And so I thought that was really interesting.
Well,
and then we've heard about lots of black op helicopters
over there.
Yeah, which is.
Well, I think there's no doubt that there's got to be some level of detection. There's got to be enough or enough people or whatever, or maybe even higher dimensional, behind what we see as leaders or countries. There's got to be. And I've talked to a couple of people. I had them on the show. One of them that was in the Illuminati, that was in a place where they like kind of like kept an eye on things. But at the same time, I always go back to, well, if they did, why wouldn't they come pick some of these people up? You know.
Mm.
But then I think, well, because those people are, even if they may not be conscious of how powerful they are, they're too powerful to fool with. Because I'm
Yeah.
sure we have, or we know, I don't say I'm sure, we know we have teams behind us. We know that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more than us.
When I did that meditation yesterday for the 33 minutes and went into myself, it was the day before, and I wrapped myself literally in a blanket, American Indian woven blanket I was gifted a couple of months ago, and I wrapped myself like that. So I was in a cocoon, and I stayed there, and just worked through everything that was coming up and coming up and coming up. And then I came out, I came back inside, and coming up from the down from our property near the dam was a female peacock. Like, it was just a really beautiful symbolic message.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really beautiful, and we've never seen before. So
no, yeah, the animal thing's picking up too.
Yeah,
there's a lot that seems to be going on with that.
Yeah.
You mentioned to me that when you or in, I don't know, was it a mess? Oh, it was a message I sent you, and I think I was apologizing or something, and then you were like, the Rose Ray Sisterhood's got you, which is, you're like, I don't know, maybe the sixth or eighth strong feminine that like a sister that has mentioned that to me over the last 2-3 years, and I had a couple of experiences with it as well. What is the Sisterhood of the Rose? Is that what it's called?
It's really interesting that you said that, because I wrote it and I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It just came. It
Yeah.
just came, when you just automatic write, it
I
just
know what you
came
mean.
from my heart.
Yeah.
And but then when I think of the rose, it's in my whole entire being, and I feel like it's my essence.
Yeah.
That just is.
Yeah. Rose Ray. Yeah. Yeah. Shakina Rose, she's in Sedona, and we're we have the same type of connection you and I have. And I went to Sedona the first time, and a couple of years ago, and I met her, and I said, hey, let's do a show. You bring your light language, and I'll turn on some music, and we'll just make something up as we go. And so we did, and she had never done it's not light language, it's harmonic singing or harmonic light language. She had never done it to music. So I was at this Airbnb, these ladies let me stay there, and she came over on a Sunday, and I set everything up, and I put headphones on her, and I turned the music on. And so it went on for like 20 or 25 minutes. And then I realized in my infinite wisdom that I hadn't turned the music on to the internet. So I stopped it. I put a new song on. We took a break, and I said, hey, this is what happened. Try this again. And so all of a sudden, and there was a window behind her, and the camera was kind of at an angle facing the window. And so she goes, this one is for the Sisters of the Rose Ray and Mother Mary, right? And all of us, and the music started. It's like the coolest 14 minutes you've ever seen. I got to find it in the archives. But so she said that. And then all of a sudden, as she started, this Rose Ray came through the window, and it's on the film. Yeah. And you know how you'll see like pictures, and it'll look like almost like a saber, and then it'll have like it'll have like that circle around it.
Yeah.
Rose Ray with this circle around it, and this, thing coming out of it. And it was on the screen. It was on the video.
Yeah. Wow.
This stuff is real.
It's, that's beautiful. And when you're in a high frequency, and then you start smelling, the scent comes through as well. That's, incredible.
Yeah, I've not had that happen with the rose, I don't think, but I've had a lot of experience like with the Mother Mary energy, and I have noticed in the last week to 10 days, I have noticed several times smells that I've never like almost like my nose never had that sensitivity before.
Yeah.
Like I'll go by and I'm like, okay, what is that? You know, like
Yeah.
there's no reason for it to be there.
Yeah.
And I've tried to check in with a couple of them, and it was just like a passing energy or something. But that was kind of weird.
Do you think that's the new frequency of the
It could
new
be.
Earth? Like,
Yeah, it could be. I think so. I think it could be because we look at, you know, I mean, telepathy. I mean, part of that, and the higher sensitivities are also, you know, part of that. I think would be an increased sensitivity with, you know, the five senses that we have.
mm-hmm.
Because another thing I've noticed is I have my vision gets really blurry, but if I go look outside, which I wasn't able to do before, I can see further. Like I can see more clear if it's in the distance.
Yeah, my eyes, when I'm outside and I'm just sitting and witnessing the world and nature, do the camera
Hmm.
like yeah, it's like they adjust and then they zoom in and then they adjust.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's quite amazing.
yeah. And then you mentioned the halls of Amenti a minute ago, right?
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
never
and
been.
no, I just remember, and the reason I brought it up is because I remember when I first woke up and I was having all these things happen. I had this, I think I told you about it, but I had this dome appear over me, right? This
Yeah,
big geomantic dome, and the wind stopped, and I could see all the grid lines, and there was all this noise and waves, and one of the things that they told me at the time was to look into uh,
mm-hmm.
the halls of Amenti, hermetic principles, stuff like that. And then I've heard halls of Amenti several times, um, and I think it's, you know, I don't know, Thoth related, that type of thing, pyramids, but
Yeah,
I don't know anything about it. But I've heard people talk about it. Sounds like a cool place.
yeah. When I didn't know I was there, and it was just massive, massive hall. What? Yeah, and yeah, I wish I could draw it. And then I'm like, where am I? And then I heard the halls of Amenti. And
Did you
then,
look at the ceiling?
pardon?
Did you look at the ceiling of the
Yeah,
halls?
that's what, yeah, it was like continuous. And then this architectural structure, nothing
Okay.
like I've ever seen before or
Okay.
felt before.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because when I woke up, I went to several times. I went to this big hall. It was a big hall, and but there was no walls. There was just columns around it. So it was
Yeah,
like an open.
yeah,
And I looked at the ceiling, and it was like, and I even wrote about it. I wish I could find those writings, but it was like a tapestry. It wasn't like a picture or a painting or a mural, but it was. And but when you looked at it, it was alive, and it was like it was just whatever I wanted to know. I
yeah,
would look at the ceiling and say, I want to know about like this past life, and then it would start showing me, or whatever it was. And I didn't know enough back then to say, hey, you know, how can I make there be peace on earth or something like that.
yeah,
But I wonder if that's the same thing. I wonder.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a very unique and different experience where I've been taken
Yeah,
before. So, um,
there's more of that happening too.
yeah. Um, so yeah, I think we're coming back online more and more and receiving these things back in our care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit
If
at a time so we can handle it.
yeah, if we choose. Yeah.
I, I think, I don't know if I told you, but you know, where we got a place, Morgan found, there is we're in a kind of in a subdivision, or really a house in between subdivisions, but so behind us there's a dry riverbed. There's 5 acres that somebody owns, and it looks like a jungle. It looks like a forest. And there's been, since I got here, I've seen fairies, but I'd seen them up in this region before when I was here a few years ago. So I was like, wow, and I could see it. I could see the portal. I could see all these energies. But the other day during the afternoon, I could swear I saw an elf Like we were getting in the car and I just went, I just saw an elf, you know? And then of course I'm going, did I really see that? Why did you say that? You know, but with everything else I've seen over here, but back to your point, I think this is what's happening. I
Yeah.
think these things are starting to show themselves, and
Yeah.
as well as, you know, our memories and abilities to procure information and skills and abilities, that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember around like all last year, my mantra was, I think I shared this with you last time, that show me the news, show me something I've never, like, you know, for order to step into the new world, I want to become completely new. But when you put that out there, it's like, oh, universe goes, oh, okay then.
I was going to say you're braver than me.
So yeah, and you know, one of my girlfriends said, oh, so you started all this, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you know, like it's time. It really is.
It really is. You know, rip the Band-Aid off, you know.
Yeah.
That's another thing. When I started out and started doing the videos, I'd always say, let's see what we're made of. Bring on the apocalypse. Let's see what we're made of. Like, what do we got to lose? I mean, we've all been through a bunch of shit anyway at times, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I didn't want to take my old self with me. I don't want, like, it's because
well, it's not going to go with
done
you.
that before.
None of us. It's not going to be. We're not going to be allowed to take it with us.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And again, if it takes the Kali energy to do it, then it takes the Kali energy to do it. The more we fight it, the more we fight the possibility that we're something that we're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The more we fight the possibility that we're something that we're not. Like like say, for instance, if I over-identify with Soulology, the more I over-identify with it, the more unconscious I am to my own BS and what's not me and what can't go.
Yeah.
You know, so it's the same for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. We are the creative self. And so we have that constant stream of creation running through us in every moment, and choosing to expand on that as well.
Yeah.
You know, just to see what we're made of.
Yeah. And this is where the instant manifestation thing, like what you were just saying, you know, and I was saying, I was not kidding, saying you're braver than me, because I've done that. and I know what happens, but I did it back then. And it's different if you do it now, because like I was telling you about that night 2 nights ago, and I felt all that energy and I went upstairs and we lay down, we were quiet, and I saw a white wolf. Immediately I saw a white wolf, which is one of my spirit guides when I first woke up. And then I saw this big red dragon like just walk up next to me. It was red. And and then I saw this, because it was really a powerful, I could tell the energy. It was like somebody was mixing it with a big mixing bowl or something, you know, and it was outside and then it was in the room. And then and I kind of got a little bit scared, but I was in that mode of, okay, what are we going to do now? What's coming? What are you going to show me? And there's the whole conversation with, but a big, broad shouldered, big chested reptilian appeared in front of me.
Yeah.
Conversation with that aspect, and then everything was okay. But yeah, I mean, I think if we start to think of something, we think, oh, it's going to happen in the literal. Well, it happens in the energetic first.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking something, then it's going to show up one way or another.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, true.
And clearer as time goes on.
And the time looping, I don't know if you've had those experiences, but you know, like it's almost like the body or the knowing that you just jumped something, and then you come back in, and then or there's time stopping or fast forwarding.
Yeah.
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 And that future self keeps coming in and dropping information, but then it feels like a dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, and I had like last night. So last night it was one of those periods. I mean, like it got really chaotic, and I saw it in other people. I just gotten off a show, and I went for a ride, and I came back, and and it was like that. It was I don't know. It was just like everything. There seemed like there was no time, and all this information was coming in at the same time I was being a human, and I just laid down. I just laid down and went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't go to bed. I just laid down, took a nap at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. I didn't. I just couldn't take it. I wasn't like upset or anything. I was just there was too much going on.
Mm-hmm.
But last night I had the craziest, and it was a continuation of the energy. And I told my team a long time ago, I want to work my stuff out in lucid dreams. If I got to purge, I want to purge in my dreams, not any more of this other stuff. And it worked. But last night I had this dream, and I just remembered this about an hour ago. But I woke up. I didn't even wake up. I was in my sleep, screaming, like just. And I remember Morgan grabbed me and just pushed me over and put me on my side. But yeah, and I know because I checked in that I was basically releasing stuff.
Yeah.
More stuff was being released instead of it happening purging wise, and it did a little bit, but or say an emotional, crying or something. But no, and that's cool. I'd rather do it in my dreams.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I have a lot of dreams, and yeah, some aren't like some are collectively. I have some as well, and yeah, I wake up and I'm like, what the like? Why did you give me that? Like, and I try, and I have to like just forget about that energy and just
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah. It's weird because it's like you can't take the dreams literally.
yeah,
It's symbolic or something, and really that's something that serves us when we're awake. Because I know, like last night, it was Morgan was in all of them, and other people that I knew, but she was there, and it had to do with actually had to do with these things that she picked up. Or I didn't see her list, but she read a few of the words to me. But it had to do with abandonment, um, like disloyalty. I guess um, misrepresentation. I mean, it was all had to do with releasing things that by their release I would have a greater self-worth. And that's what when I tapped in a couple hours ago, that's what I was shown. I was shown what you were watching, you were witnessing what was leaving. Like,
yeah,
like you were saying earlier, you don't want to take any of that old you with you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so the transmutation through the dream state. Yeah, but it also when you wake up, you're like, oh man, I got to go back to sleep. Just
I know, man.
like that's where's my rest time, please.
I know.
Yeah. So those naps during the day are good.
They are good. They're
Yeah.
absolutely good.
Yeah.
I had two today, and the thing was I didn't set an alarm because I had like 3 hours before the next show. I had some work I wanted to do, so I didn't want to sleep too long. And man, it was a hard sleep. I mean, I had like slobber on my face, and I woke up and I came into the over here to work, and it had only been 30 minutes. Like
Yeah.
since I'd gone in
Okay.
there, so I had to be out maybe 20 minutes, but it was like 8 hours. I mean, I was like
Yeah. Yeah.
totally refreshed.
Yeah. Yeah. What we think, with night and day and sleep and eating, it's it's all changing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. Yeah, that was
And it's
part of that was part of what that lady, or I don't know if it was a lady, but I have a feeling it was, wrote on that YouTube comment. She said, "We're no longer," and the way she said it, it 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 made more sense or was more believable, or I felt it more or something, because I've heard other people say, but she said, "We're no longer in the lineal. We're no longer in the linear. We are in a quantum on a spherical, like a spherical kind of thing, like a circular kind of thing, like
Mhm.
spiral or yeah." I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, yeah. And the physical body, that's I'm very much looking after my physical
Yeah.
um, at the moment, and yeah, just because I've been very um, soul, mind, body, soul, that aspect. But, you forget about the physical. So I've just been pretty much concentrating on
Yeah, I think that's that's important.
working my physical.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before because like the naps, that's really not a joke. I mean, if you feel tired, take a nap.
Mm.
Like the body's not just making you tired. I mean, it really is important right now. I think the rest and the water is a big
Mm.
deal because I
Yep.
know I've had a couple. I not anymore, but about 2 weeks ago I had, or 10 days ago I got really dehydrated and I paid for it. It was
Mm.
brutal for like 3 days.
Yeah, that's huge.
It was brutal, and yeah, I mean, I get like this. I always get this thing on my third eye, like all my skin peels, and there's like a red dot. It's almost clear now. It was there today, but yeah, on that in that 3 days, and then I tapped in and I was shown that there was a lot of purging going on then. So I noticed like when there's a lot of transformation or there's a lot of
Mm.
upgrades, that's really, I mean, as I understand it for myself, that's when I need to be drinking water, trying to eat greens, trying not to eat eat pretty well, and it makes a big difference. And the
Yep.
rest is so important.
Yep.
It really is.
Yep. Yeah. So
We,
the old programming of you have lunch at lunchtime, breakfast and dinner at these
mm,
times, and then you go to bed, and that's throw those out the window. They
mm,
no longer serve us.
it's
It's
not.
moment by moment, listening to the body
Mm.
and acting on it.
I think like yesterday I ate 5 times.
Yep.
Today I've eaten one time.
Yep.
I had a bowl of pasta, that dish that Morgan had made, and it wasn't a real big one. Um, but yesterday I probably ate 5 times. I ate oatmeal. I had some juice. I made some juice in the juicer, and I had several things, but I needed it
Yep.
obviously,
Yep. Pocket
especially when
full.
they put me through hell in the lucid dream last night. So how far are you from Melbourne?
About 55 minutes.
So you're really close.
Yeah.
That's really close. So in Melbourne proper is where they're considering going to stage 5, right?
Uh, uh, what's stage 5? I
Well,
don't watch the
evident.
news. So
Yeah. Well,
whatever
I only
information.
get this. Yeah, I only get this from because Morgan, she checks on the Australian stuff, and then I actually saw on one of the 2 or 3, 4 sites that I check every day just to keep myself abreast. And this is international. It's a big international website, and they have headlines, and they might have like, I don't know, so like maybe 30 or 40, and one of them was about Melbourne specifically,
Yeah.
which that was kind of a standout because they were like the whole world's watching Melbourne now, you know. But yeah, so as I understand it, stage 5. They're at stage 4 right now, and stage
Yeah.
5 is like one person can go to the grocery store once a week. All the bottle shops will be closed. Everything will be closed except for the absolute, like I guess, like grocery store, hospital, essential workers. No construction, you know. So that'll be interesting. That ought to push some people's buttons.
What was that song I heard? When songs pop into your head when you
Hmm.
hear stuff, and
Hmm.
you're just tuning in. It's talk about a revolution.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. you
Yeah.
know, um, yeah, so
That's a good one.
pretty funny.
Well, because if you think about it, like the stuff that y'all are pulling in, which is dealing with the fear, and then like she's pulling in, like, basically you're talking about increasing self-worth and your love for yourself, which means you've got to get rid of the things that are blocking that. And what sovereignty. We're going to get right down to it. So their sovereignty, the choices are being taken away. I mean, I can't imagine even people that some people might call not awake. It's got to be pushing their buttons. It has to be.
Absolutely.
It has to be. You know,
Yep.
there's just no way around it. And then on the other hand, I feel like there's something really big going on. Like something's about to really, really pop. Like it, we've had some, I'd say energetically, some things happen over the last 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. But this to me seems like something that's going to be, pretty out there, like where most people, are seeing the same thing. It could
Mm,
be, what we talked about, maybe that's happening over there, or it could be something with Trump. He made a speech a couple of days ago, and people are starting to write about it. And he said, "There's some people mad at me. You probably won't see me for a while." And so they're talking about he's going to fly on a plane and be out of here, and we're going to go into
yeah.
military lockdown. Delia says astrologically it supports this between the 15th and the 22nd.
Yeah. Jason Estes says on the 16th we go into one world, one reality.
That's what I'm talking about. Something like that.
Like then it's all out there. It's all
Yeah.
get very,
Maybe,
very
yeah. And maybe that's, because, people used to talk about the solar flash.
Yeah.
Or the 3 days of darkness, right? And so that would be something where everybody's one. What did he say? One world, one reality.
One world, one reality. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, it would be something like that. It would be something even bigger than the quarantine or the COVID, because there's certain, it's not uniform. Like like Morgan's telling me, in Adelaide, they don't have any restrictions. And in Melbourne, they're in stage 4, and but to me, it would be something like energy, like say a solar flash. Everybody would know that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I don't believe it is. I think it's going to be something literal, like you're talking about. I think it's going to be something where, like, something's unveiled and everybody knows the truth, and there's no two ways about it. And it changes everybody's, belief system. It rocks us, it rocks it to the core, something like that.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really interesting. And I have to think back to when I went at the beginning of March, and the first Stargate octahedron I set up was in Melbourne. And then I went around Australia and then linked them all to Uluru. So, it's got to have that energy, has to have an impact on what's going on here as well. And, I'm and all the other light workers out there that are doing the work here in Victoria, we're here for a reason.
Yeah, of course.
And
yeah.
And like the other day, he calls me in, he's doing some work. He's like, "Oh, so there's the company wants to know if anyone wants to go to Canberra. Do you want to go?" And the week that I was having, I'm like, "Oh, get me out of here." But it's like, hang on a minute. You've got to be here no matter what. And because when you have children, that the human ego would go, "Oh my God, protect your children, keep your family safe." So those are the things that run through your mind. But it's also like the higher self, just that real, take a breath. You've got this. You're so much stronger than you think you are. Just keep anchoring in the light here. Keep anchoring it in. You're not in it, but you can hold space for it. So, yeah.
Well, for a long time, as I was getting acclimated with the light worker community, so going back to like 2014, so you would hear a lot of people would say, this is what blue rays are, light workers or starseeds, that we've got to kind of like set the tone. We've got to, blaze the trail, because at a certain point, the people that are not, whatever you want to call it, awake or whatever, those people, they're going to need our help, right? But I think that's probably true. Like for practitioners, or like you've got these incredible essences, or practitioners. I think there is going to be some need for that. But I think actually, what's energetically, that's what we're doing. Like we're doing it already. like what you're doing, like the people that are around Victoria, they're actually building those columns of light to sustain and support the grid as the old structures fall away, right? Yeah.
Everyone is positioned exactly where they need to be right now. There's no running. You can't run anywhere anyway.
No. Well, that's another thing too in this perfect design. Everybody's landlocked.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and one thing about the lightworker community, there's been a lot of people on the move, including me and Morgan, for the last 2, 3, 4 years. You know, they're moving around, and now nobody's moving.
Yeah.
And so, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to see a grid of all our friends, like just everyone that we know. Like, where are they at? Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Probably be a bunch of triangles connected.
We've had a few earthquakes in Melbourne too in the last week or so, which is really quite rare, and all at 10K depth, which is really interesting.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I just got shocked. Okay, go ahead. You said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. We had a couple of earthquakes.
Over there?
Yeah, like small ones. Yeah, up in the near the Dandenong Mountains. You had the beautiful Alicia on the other week up near there. Yeah. So it's been interesting because we don't get those here.
You don't?
No. So
that's right. I asked Morgan about that. Y'all don't have hurricanes. Y'all don't have tornadoes.
No.
So
so I find the energy in the grids very interesting. Like, you know, like there's stuff that's going on underneath that we, you know, it's not explainable, but it's, you know, something's happening.
Well, Dahlia's saying could be deep underground military bases. You know, I mean, that could be part of it coming out.
Too. Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Really, I mean, it's who knows. But I'm with you. Like, just bring it out. Let's do it. You know, and there's a part of me that knows that's happening. It's like it's beyond anyone's. It's out of anyone's hands on Earth, and probably even let's say higher dimensional beings that have been involved on the Earth. It's the universe. It's that Kali. It's the Kali energy, the Father God energy. It's all those energies. It's just, you know, it's the cycle of time.
Yeah.
Season.
Yeah. And, you know, like like this week, it's really felt like we've had a real battle of light and dark happening here. But also that's within as well. So let's just transmute it.
Absolutely. Whose birthday is it, by the way?
Oh, it's my son's birthday, William.
That's what threw me off, because I was glancing at the comments, and Morgan put a comment up and said, "Happy birthday to your son for today, to Melina."
Yeah.
But I thought it said Mr. Medina, because sometimes she'll write comments and put Mr. Medina, and that's why I stopped listening to you. I thought, oh my God, did I forget one of my kids' birthday? And I looked at the date, and I'm like, no. So happy birthday, happy birthday to your son.
Thank you.
How old is he?
He's 10. He's double digits. He woke us up at 4:45 this morning, but then he had to go back to bed because it was too early.
You were just mentioning that beautiful Alicia, right? Alicia brought you. She just came on, but and I just wanted to say hi to her, and that you were talking about her, but she was really cool. She was very cool. I mean, she's a lot. Have you ever met her? She's a lot like you.
No, but interesting. And I hope this is okay, Alicia, but I had a dream about a girl that came to me, and she kept saying, "My name is Alicia. My name is Alicia. Do you not remember me?" I said, "I have no idea who you are." And she goes, "Oh, we must have been on the other timeline. My name's Alicia." And then a week or so later, I switch on the live, and she's down. I'm like, "Oh my God, that is her."
Have you connected with her?
Yeah, I connected with her.
Oh, very cool.
So so she's where she is, Mount Dandenong, and I'm on Mount Macedon, and we're on a ley line link between the Southern Cross. We're on, you know, the Mountain Cross Southern Link thing.
And you probably got 2 other sisters on the other points.
Yeah.
You know,
probably.
I mean, seriously. I mean, that's And you actually
Very
have
cool.
more. You actually have more than that. You've got a conscious family, basically, and a conscious piece of property.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you did you see that lady that was on the other day? Oh my God, what's her name? Angela Dwelly, Dwell, Dwelle. It's just like she lives in Montana, which is very rural. It's a very rural. It's like 1 million people in the whole state, and it's a huge state. And she's got some land, and she's got 3 kids and the husband, and they're all connected to their higher self, and they all work through that, and they grow conscious food, and this whole story. And I was thinking about your family and your place, but yeah, she's got like the same type of thing going. You do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great interview. She has beautiful energy.
Oh, did you see it? You saw it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's so many of y'all coming up now, coming
Yep.
forward. The lady that was on today from Norway. I mean, she just wrote me a note, and she just said, "I just want to say thank you for what you do," and Morgan, and it was just, and I get those, but every now and then I'll have like this thing go in my head, and I'll go, ask that one. And so I asked her, and then she came,
Yeah.
and then you end up finding out she's just like you, man. I mean, just like Morgan. Just there's so many of them, and they're all starting to come out,
Yeah.
which means that in the energetic field, it's already done, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Just like Alicia, she contacted me in my dreams.
exactly,
You know,
exactly.
like it's like what? And yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exciting.
And then they all said the same thing. Pretty much, they're like, my higher selves tell me, they're showing me. I mean, this lady even today, she even started making videos. She's made a few videos on YouTube, and she was just petrified. She's like, I sat around for 2 months, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But they're all saying that, like, and I've heard Morgan say it. I've heard this lady and quite a few others, that they feel like there's these hands on their back that's just pushing them to
Hmm.
get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's beautiful.
it's happening. Before we get out of here, I just wanted to say, and we don't really market on Sology, but and I don't really use anything. I'm not big on modalities or conventional things like Reiki or anything. But these essences that you sent me, and maybe it's because we've got a connection, But uh, yeah, I felt them. Like I followed your directions to sit with them and talk to them, and I did because I'm weird like you, and but yeah, they're powerful. And then right after that, right about the same time or right after I got them, I saw the labyrinth. I saw
Oh
the I
wow.
saw the labyrinth, and you put up a post, and I was like, holy shit, I was like, wow, because I was almost like there. It was really crazy, but it wasn't. It was synchronistic. How what was going on with me? They came in, and I was sitting right here, and the weather was all weird. I told you, and then I saw the picture, and then I did a show, and I was talking about it, and it was, I think, right before I canceled. It was in this period of building up to where I just bottomed out. But yeah, so I would they're infused in a powerful place by a powerful person, and I'd highly recommend them. You're at
Beautiful.
old wise seeds, oldwiseseeds.com.
Wise old seeds.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Same different.
Wiseoldseeds.com. I need one for memory or cognitive functioning. Um, yeah. So, and yeah. And see, this is where the telepathy goes. I'm sitting here telling you, then Morgan just sent me a note. Thank her for the essences. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
But,
you.
and that happens a lot. But anyway, I wanted to say before we get out of here that I don't know if everybody knows, but April Fontana, who's a phenomenal healer. She did some work on Morgan, and Morgan doesn't normally go that route, but she had an injury. But there's a lot of people that have attested to her work. She's very down to earth. She's been on the show 2 or 3 times.
Mm.
Very down to earth. I mean, considering the abilities and the dimensions that she lives in most of the time. Really cool lady. But she's been in the hospital, and she had a 5-hour surgery, and they weren't even sure she was going to make it. So I just wanted to take the opportunity with everybody here to just kind of form a circle of life with April in the center. We know that everything's good. We know that we're eternal. We know that there's no sickness and healing. I mean, a sickness and in a prolonged manner. I mean, but still, I think we're all here to help each other and support each other. And so if everybody would just join me in this moment and love and light and love and light and love and light and send April and her team a strong, powerful, energetic dose of pure and compassionate love. And yeah, and thank you for that. Did you take us? Did you just take us there, by the way?
Yeah, my heart did a big palpitation.
Well, Morgan just sent me a note and said that she did pass away.
Ah.
So, wow. Well, we still connected with her, didn't we?
Mm.
That's weird. When I stopped talking, I looked at you and your eyes are closed. I just, gave it the respect. And then all of a sudden I see this bunch of gold beans around a circle of white light and another being in the middle, which, yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of people transitioning, and like my cousin told me, he transitioned in 2014. He was going to the other side to help us from that side. So, yeah, we're all in the same boat.
Yep.
Well, I was good catching up with you and ending the week with you and going into 8/8. I feel really good about it, and I appreciate it. It's always nice connecting. Again, thanks for the essences and the Merlin spray. He was here. He was here when it came, but so
yeah. We were his students, so or his we're on his team.
Yeah, absolutely. I know your sister over here is, no doubt. And he came into our room one time and materialized translucent.
Yeah.
So I know.
Yeah.
But all right, you take care. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Todd.
All right,
Thank you.
I'll see you again. All right.